Hello, I'm Coach Natalie, and welcome to another episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies. Today we're going to be working on the Omoplata submission from the guard position. Now the Omoplata is a kind of a shoulder lock that you apply with your legs. So let's check it out. Okay, the Omoplata. The Omoplata is not normally a position I would be doing because in general I like to be more on top, submissions from the top. But about half of the submissions that you'll see in Jiu Jitsu are from the bottom when you're sitting down and your legs around your partner, or in this case your dummy. So I think it's good to learn the Omoplata because it's a position that you can get to when you're sitting down. We call that the guard. So I'll do it from a few different angles. First, your human partner, or in this case your dummy, is going to be in what we call the guard position. Your legs don't have to be crossed behind you. They're just sitting in between your two knees. First thing you're going to do is you are going to be getting to your side. They're going to have their arm around your waist. You're taking your knee and putting it right behind their shoulder, and you're really pinching down. Next, you take your hand, push their head away, because you're going to put your leg over their head. And the last thing you're going to do is cross your legs. We call this, your legs are in a triangle, and you'll see when I'm in another angle. Next, I'm now going to switch so that my head is kind of near her feet, and my feet are next to her head. Last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to sit up, grab her belt, and scoot my bottom away from her. There's a little bit of space here. Now, holding onto her belt, I'm going to swing my legs over, and her arm's still trapped in between my my hip and my leg. I'm going to slowly start to get to my knees, and if she was a real person, this would be about the time that she would decide to tap, because basically her arm is getting wrenched behind her back. Seen from another angle. Sally here is going to be in my guard. Her arm is kind of wrapped around my hip. First thing I'm going to do is get to my side. I'm going to put my knee right behind her shoulder. I'm going to hold her head down, and I'm going to actually get my foot over her head and connect up my two ankles. Now going to get so that my foot is near her head and my head is near her feet. Grabbing onto her belt, sit up, scooch away, flip my legs off to the side here. And this is where the joint lock starts to get tight. And so you want to be extremely careful and slow as you start to raise up. This is about the time when it would be too painful for your human partner, and they would be tapping. Seen from another angle. Again, Sally's going to be in my guard. Normally she'll have her hand kind of like wrapped around my hip. I'm going to get to my side. Now I'm going to put my knee behind her shoulder. Push away her head. Get my leg over her head. Cross my legs. Now I'm going to be becoming parallel with her. So my feet are near her head and my head are kind of near her feet. I'm going to grab her belt. Sit up. Scooch my bottom away from her body. And then I'm going to move my feet to the side and start to slowly rise up until they tap. Which brings me to a couple of common mistakes that people might make. First, this is a shoulder lock. And whenever we do shoulder locks on someone, it gets tighter, 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 up, and then you might cause some damage. So you always want to go really slowly. Obviously, if you're working with a dummy, you have more room for error. But if you're doing this with a real human, you always want to be very, very careful when submitting a human partner. Second of all, a common mistake might not be getting to the side. So, again, Sally's in my guard. She has her hand near my hip. The first thing I want to do is get completely to my side. That makes it easy to put my knee behind her shoulder, and then pushing her head away makes it easier for me to get my leg around her whole head. Then the next mistake that people might make would be failure to grab this belt. Let's get to this direction here. If she knows what I'm doing, and she's a human, she might roll out of this position. She might think, oh no, I'm going to be submitted. And there's ways for her to roll out. Now, by me holding on to her belt, that keeps her from rolling. And then the third mistake people might make is failure to move a little bit farther away, because another way that she could protect herself would be on her hands and knees, and if you're on your hands and knees, you can't be submitted. So in this case, if she's on her hands and knees, me pulling her this way will cause her to flatten out, such as she is. So grab onto the belt, scoot your own bottom away from her, and then that allows you to move your legs. And like I said, the last thing I'm going to be doing is very slowly getting up, and you can see her arm is just going back behind her back, and that's when she's going to decide to tap. So let's look at the whole thing again. Again, you have your partner, or in this case your dummy, and your guard. They're usually going to be holding on to you in some way. First thing you're going to do, go completely to your side. Get your knee right behind their shoulder, and really bite down with your knee. Just really trap them. Push their head away. Get your leg over their head, and tighten your two legs. Next thing I'm going to do is become parallel with them. My head towards their feet, my feet towards their head. Grab onto their belt. Get onto your own arm. Scoot your own bottom away from them. Then swing your legs and very slowly apply the submission. I hope you enjoyed learning the Omoplata. As I mentioned, it's a position that can be done when they're in your guard. There's another Omoplata where you do it when you're actually sitting on them. We might do that another day. Thank you very much for joining me. I have a Facebook page, Natalie Jiu Jitsu. Reach out to me there, suggest a move. And thank you again for joining me for another episode of Jiu Jitsu for Dummies.